Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Minakshi from KB number 2 Air Force Station Halwara. So students, we have learnt about the various animal breeding programs in our previous videos. Now we will take up our next topic from chapter 9, strategies for enhancement in food production. So today our topic is plant breeding. Traditional farming can only yield a limited biomass as food for humans and animals. Even better management practices and increase in acreage has increased the yield of the crop plants, but only to a limited extent. Plant breeding as a technology has helped increase yields to a very large extent. This has increased the yields to such an extent that it has led to green revolution in our country. Green Revolution was responsible for our country to not merely meet the national requirements in food production but also helped us even to export it. So now let's learn what is plant breeding. Plant breeding is the purposeful manipulation of plant species in order to create desired plant types that are better suited for cultivation, give better yields and are disease resistant. Conventional plant breeding has been practiced for thousands of years since the beginning of human civilization. Many present-day crops are the result of domestication in ancient times. Today, all our major food crops are derived from domesticated varieties. Classical plant breeding involves crossing or hybridization of pure lines, which is followed by artificial selection so that the plants which are produced have desired traits of higher yield, nutrition and resistance to diseases. With advancement in genetics, molecular biology and tissue culture, plant breeding is now increasingly being carried out by using molecular genetic tools. Crop plants are affected by a number of abiotic factors like drought, salinity or high temperatures, and certain biotic factors like pathogens like bacteria, fungi or viruses, or certain insect pests. So breeders have tried to incorporate certain traits into the crop plants, which are as follows. First is increased crop yield and improved quality. They have tried to increase tolerance to environmental stresses such as salinity, extreme temperatures and drought among plants. Plants were also made resistant to pathogens like viruses, fungi and bacteria. They were also made to have increased tolerance to insect pests. Plant breeding is is carried out in a very systematic way worldwide. This is carried out by many government institutions and commercial companies. The various steps in breeding a new genetic variety of crop are collection of variability, that is different types of alleles or genes of a particular crop will be collected. Then there will be evaluation and selection of parents, and the selected parents will be cross hybridized, followed by their selection and testing of superior recombinants, and at last testing, release and commercialization of new cultivars. First is the collection of variability. Genetic variability is the root of any breeding program. In many crops, pre-existing genetic variability is available from the wild relatives of the crop. Collection and preservation of all the different wild varieties, species and relatives of the cultivated species is a prerequisite for effective exploitation of natural genes available in the population. So this is followed by their evaluation for their characteristics. The entire collection of plants or seeds having all the diverse alleles for all genes in a given crop is called as germplasm collection. Once the germplasm is collected, it has to be evaluated and parents have to be selected. So, evaluation of the germplasm help us to identify plants with desirable combination of characters. The selected plants are multiplied and are used in the process of hybridization. Pure lines are created thereafter wherever desirable and possible. The desired characters have very often to be combined from two different plants. So therefore, cross hybridization has to be done among the selected plants. For example, high protein quality of one parent may need to be combined with the disease resistance from another parent. The cross hybridization will lead to the formation of hybrids or recombinants that genetically combine the desired characters in one plant. Cross hybridization is a very time consuming and tedious process because it will involve the collection of pollen grains from the desirable plant chosen as male parent. These pollens which are collected, they have to be placed on the stigma of the flowers which is selected as female parents. There could be contamination of certain foreign pollens which may spoil the whole breeding experiment. Also, it is not necessary that the hybrids which we have obtained do contain all the desirable characters. Usually only 1 in few hundred to 1,000 crosses show the desirable combinations. After the hybrids are obtained, there is selection and testing of superior recombinants. Those hybrids are selected which have the desired character combination. So this selection process is crucial to the success of the breeding objective, and it requires careful scientific evaluation of the progeny. This step yields plants that are superior to both of the parents. Very often more than one superior progeny plant may become available. After this, these plants are self-pollinated for several generations till they reach a state of uniformity, that is homozygosity. Why this is done? This is done so that the characters will not segregate in the progeny. After all these steps, the last step is the testing, release and commercialization of new cultivars. The newly selected lines are evaluated for their yield and other agronomic traits of quality, disease resistance, etc. This evaluation is done at two levels. One is that these crops will be evaluated in the research fields, and this will be followed by their testing or evaluation in the farmer's field. When it is these crops are grown in the research field, their performance is recorded. The performance under ideal fertilizer application, irrigation and other crop management practices is recorded. The evaluation in research fields is followed by testing the materials in farmers field for at least 3 growing seasons, and this is done at several locations in the country which represent all the agroclimatic zones where the crop is usually grown. The material which is evaluated is compared to the best available local crop cultivar, and this local crop cultivar serves as a check or reference cultivar. So after these all steps, the seeds of the crops which are grown, they are commercialized, and by following all these steps, the desirable characters of the in the plant can be grown. So now let's talk about the next part, that is the green revolution in India. As it was told that plant breeding has led to green revolution in India. India is mainly an agricultural country, and it accounts for approximately 33% of India's GDP, and this also employs nearly 62% of the population. After India's independence, one of the main challenges which the country was facing was the production of enough food for the increasing population. As only limited land is fit for cultivation, so India has to try very hard to increase yields per unit area from this limited existing farmland. There was development of several high yielding varieties of wheat and rice in the mid 1960s as a result of various plant breeding techniques, which has led to dramatic increase in food production in our country. So this phase was often referred to as the Green Revolution. M.S. Swaminathan initiated collaboration with the Norman E. Borlaug, which reached the highest point into the Green Revolution through the introduction of Mexican varieties of wheat in India. Number of other plants like rice and maize were also grown, and all these were dependent on the plant breeding technology. Some of the Indian hybrid crops of high yielding varieties are like maize, Sonalika of wheat, and P1542 of garden peas. During the period 1960 to 2000, wheat production and rice production has increased to several million tons. This was due to the development of semi-dwarf varieties of these plants by Nobel laureate Norman E. Borlaug at International Center for Wheat and Maize Improvement, that was in Mexico. Later in 1963, several varieties such as Sonalika and Kalyan Sona were developed by India. These varieties were high yielding and also disease resistant. These then after that were introduced all over the wheat growing belts of India. Semi-dwarf rice varieties were derived from IR8, which was developed at International Rice Research Institute, Philippines, and also Taichung native one, which was from Taiwan. The derivatives were introduced in 1966. Later, better yielding semi-dwarf varieties of rice like Jaya and Ratna were developed in India. Now talking about sugarcane. Saccharum barbari was a type of sugarcane which was grown in North India. This had poor sugar content and yield. Whereas there was another breed which was Saccharum officinarum. This was grown in South India. This had thicker stems and higher sugar content, but these did not grow well in North India. These two species were successfully crossed to get sugarcane varieties, combining the desirable qualities of high yield, thick stem, high sugar, and ability to grow in the sugarcane areas of North India. Then we will talk about millets. Hybrid maize varieties like CS9, Jowar, and Bajra varieties like TRS 4466 have been successfully developed in India. Hybrid breeding have led to the development of several high-yielding varieties which were resistant to water stresses also. So students, I hope that you have learnt about the basic concepts of the plant breeding and about how these plants are made to increase yield and have desirable characters. So now let's see certain assignments or certain questions you have to answer, or you have to give the definition of plant breeding. Write the main steps which are involved in plant breeding. Name some varieties of wheat which were high yielding and disease resistant. Name two varieties of rice developed by India. Also name the varieties of sugarcane found in North and South India. Why were these two hybridized? Students, I hope you are able to answer these questions. Thank you and have a nice day.